egg clue after all, and that was ages. Whereas, whereas if he went into Hogsmeade, he might run into Hagrid and get a chance to persuade him to come back. He, Ron, and Hermione left the castle together on Saturday and set off through the cold, wet grounds toward the gates. As they passed the Durmstrang ship moored in the lake, they saw Victor Crumb emerge onto the deck, dressed into nothing but swimming trunks. He was very skinny indeed, but apparently a lot tougher than he looked, because he climbed up onto the side of the ship, stretched out his arms, and dived right into the lake. "He's mad," said Harry, staring at Crumb's dark head as it bobbed out in the middle of the lake. "It must be freezing. It's January." "It's a lot colder where he comes from," said Hermione. "I suppose it feels quite warm to him." "Yeah, but there's still the giant squid," said Ron. He didn't sound anxious. If anything, he sounded hopeful. Hermione noticed his tone of voice and frowned. "He's really nice, you know," she said. "He's not all like you'd think coming from Durmstrang. He likes it much better here, he told me." Ron said nothing. He hadn't mentioned Victor Crumb since the ball, but Harry had found a miniature arm under his bed on the Boxing Day, which had looked very much as though it had been snapped off a small model figure wearing Bulgarian wooden stripes. Harry kept his eyes skinned for a sign of Hagrid all the way down the slushy high street. It suggested a visit to the Three Broomsticks once he had ascertained that Hagrid was not in any of the shops. The pub was as crowded as ever, but one quick look around at all the tables told Harry that Hagrid wasn't there. Heart sinking, he went up to the bar with Ron and Hermione, ordered 3 butterbeers from Madame Rosmerta, and thought gloomily that he might just as well have stayed behind and listened to the egg wailing after all. "Doesn't he ever go into the office?" Hermione whispered suddenly. Look! She pointed into the mirror behind the bar, and Harry saw Ludo Bagman reflected there, sitting in a shadowy corner with a bunch of goblins. Bagman was talking very fast in a low voice to the goblins, all of whom had their arms crossed and were looking rather menacing. It was indeed odd, Harry thought, that Bagman was here at the Three Broomsticks on a weekend when there was no Triwizard event, and therefore no judging to be done. He watched Bagman in the mirror. He was looking strained again, quite as strained as he had that night in the forest before the dark mark had appeared. But just then Bagman glanced over at the bar, saw Harry, and stood up. In a moment, Harry heard him say brusquely to the goblins, and Bagman hurried through the pub toward Harry, his boyish grin back in place. "Harry," he said, "how are you? Been hoping to run into you. Everything going all right?" "Fine, thanks," said Harry. "Wonder if I could have a quick private word, Harry," said Bagman eagerly. "You gotta give us a moment, you two, could you?" Okay," said Ron. He and Hermione went off to find a table. Bagman led Harry along the bar to the end furthest from Madame Rosmerta. "Well, I just thought I'd congratulate you again on your splendid performance against the Horntail, Harry," said Bagman. "Really superb." "Thanks," said Harry, but he knew this couldn't be all Bagman wanted to say, because he could have congratulated Harry in front of Ron and Hermione. Bagman doesn't seem in any particular rush to spill the beans, though. Harry saw him glance onto the...
Okay, I gotta teach my class, alright?
Okay.
Finish reading your chapter, and then you can take the remote.
Okay.
But finish it up.
My mouth is starting to hurt.
It's a lot of words, huh?
Yeah.
Good job of reading.
Yeah.
Good evening, my coding family. How's everybody doing? Hope y'all enjoyed that reading of the Goblet of Fire. I saw that Cassandra took her exam this week? Yes, Cassandra. She took it Saturday. I was just curious, were there any specific areas or questions that you've seen me go over that were on the exam, or anything that you saw that you didn't expect, that you wish you had known about? Anything in particular that you noticed? How's everybody doing? Patrice has been waiting for 30 minutes. Hey, Fagan, Mabel, Go-Kart, Cassandra. Yes, Jenny, you got to purchase to get access to all 750 practice exam questions. If you use the link from my website, we will get the money back to us, which is super cool because that way I can give out more YouTube subscriptions. So far, we've almost given out $9,000 worth of YouTube subscriptions away. So that little bit of money helps out all the way. But Pocket Prep's not too bad. It's either $15 a month or you can get 3 months for $40. And if you do purchase the 3 months access, if you don't pass your exam, they'll give you another 3 months for free in their pass guarantee. And having access to all the page numbers where the answers are is super handy dandy. Let me find this window. There we go. There's our window capture. So if you come to my website, medicalcodingbyjen.com, Pocket Prep is shaking at you right there, the big pink blob. Just click on that. We'll get credit for it if you do purchase it. Click on the word medical and then click on AAPC. It's the very top one. And this is where Pocket Prep will go over all that it covers. Click on it. Very good. There we go. There we go. It covers all 18 areas of the exam. They even have cases. There's 75 questions that are just cases. They've got the compliance and regulatory, E&M, lab and path, you name it. There's a bunch of questions there. You can build exams. Like if you only want to do compliance questions, you can just do that. You can do one question or you can build 10 questions or whatever. But they do have a pass guarantee and it is for access to all 750 questions. Super cool. Love Pocket Prep. I've been using them since 2020. Even before we got sponsored by them, but they're great. Pocket Prep is wonderful. The only other sponsor we got is our Mint Mobile, which I converted my Verizon cell phone over from, gosh, $240 something a month to $30 a month for 2 lines. We love it. So it's been doing great. I was in my son's Tesla Saturday night. I took it to the boys, went to homecoming dance, and during their homecoming dance, they had, you know, because you're in the Tesla, you're not burning fuel and stuff, so you get to, it's kind of cool. You can sit there in the car, and I turned on my hotspot on my Mint Mobile cell phone, and turned on the Wi-Fi on the car, and then I was able to get onto YouTube and watch YouTube shorts. So while I was there for the 3 hours while they were in the dance, because I'm one of those parents who hovers in helicopters, I was out there watching YouTube videos. Just too much fun. But that's pretty cool. You know, even if you don't know, you know, a whole lot, it's pretty cool that the signal, because the high school has those Wi-Fi blockers around the high school that won't allow the kids to use cell phones, but I was able to use my hotspot in their parking lot in the car. But that's James. He was all dressed up for the homecoming dance. He's in 10th grade this year. And then Travis also is dressed up for homecoming dance. So, and he's also in 10th grade. So, yeah, they're only 6 months apart age-wise. So we had so much fun. I sat out there and hovered and helicoptered. And that was the first time I used my hotspot on Mint Mobile, and it worked just fine for 3 hours. Just streamed away. That's crazy for $15 a month. Anyway, I can't talk enough about it. I think it's great. All right, y'all have waited long enough. Let me get to the questions we've got for today. But if you guys have any questions of your own or want to go over anything, let me know. You guys work on this question. What do you think the answer is? If you're already reading this, you're doing it wrong. Be sure to look at the questions or the available answers and see how can I answer this question the fastest and most efficient way possible. I see 2 codes, the 477 and the 997 code, that are more prevalent in this question. Would I need one of them by themselves, or do I need them together? The best way to do is to go to both those codes, look at the header, see which area that I'm in by only looking for the header differences in the question once I get to those codes. And that will be the best part. 334, what header am I under? 33477, what am I under? Valvectomies, is that what I'm under? Or that's under mitral valve. It's under mitral valve. Or am I in the 929s? This is under graphies. What would I be under? Jenny's boys are obsessed with Harry Potter too. Go-Kart, I hope you can hear now. He's 12, loves the books since he was a baby. Aw. Hi, Raina. Good evening. Thanks, Go-Kart. I taught James 1st grade through most of 3rd grade. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So his reading is what I think that was my doing. I like hearing kids read too. Doing good. Cassandra said she thought she knew the stuff. Yeah, that's the hard part. The best thing is to go into the exam blank with no knowledge. Only look up the differences between the answers. What's the differences between these codes? And only look for that difference in the question. Don't go in with any coding knowledge, because that's just going to throw you off. Only look at the differences between the answers. The 3 30,000 codes are valves. The 90,000 codes are graphies, right? So we know we're doing something with the valve. So great. That gets rid of C and D. Then I just need to know, would I have one code or two? What's most likely AAPC's answer if it's a difference between one or two codes? You know the answer is B. That's it. Don't go looking up this one to see what the difference is, see if you did it. Your point in this exam is not to prove to anybody that you're a good medical coder. It's that you are a good exam taker. And it's best if you go in there blind with no knowledge except for what Jen's told you and take it, clear your headers, get rid of two answers, and then look at what's remaining and decide off of what's remaining what is most likely AAPC's answer. Most of the time they're pushing you to pick two codes over one or to add modifiers when you don't need them, because an inexperienced coder would do that. So if you do what I have to say here and let it go and just approach these from the answer's point of view, with looking up as little data as possible, then you can pass. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it works. Hey, Tanisha, is it necessary to chun the coding books? I haven't started practicing any questions yet. Do you think I can just practice exam questions? A lot of people do. If you're taking your certification exam in Indonesia or outside the United States, they are given blank books on exam day to take their exam. So they can't have any notes, but that's, outside the United States. So they do have to practice exam questions without any notes. You can do it that way if you want to. Totally up to you. I don't use the chun method. I use my own little thing. I used to call it the bad method. Bundle, annotate, and document, or something like that. I forget what it was, but if you just come to my website, medicalcodingbyjen.com, go to the resources tab, go to CPT book prep page. It's totally free for you. There's 8 pictures there that tells you what to do, and just do those 8 steps in your books. There's also how to make notes in your ICD-10 in there, and your anatomy notes. There's also videos that show you step by step too. There's more videos here on the YouTube channel if you want to do step-by-step book prep with me. They're under the membership for $5, but these are free. They get you started. If you feel like you want to make some notes, but you don't have to. You can just start practicing questions. I have free questions here in our practice area. And then for $8, I have a membership that'll get you all these pages, and then you can do hundreds of practice exam questions on my site if you want to, or you can do Pocket Prep, which has 750 practice exam questions too. So, totally up to you, whatever you think will be helpful. When I was doing practice exam questions, I realized that it was helpful to highlight differences in some of the codes in certain areas like intra, extra, subsequent, initial. Some of those kind of things are super helpful because the codes are the same body part, same surgery, but the only difference is one's initial, first time you do the surgery, and then some of them are subsequent, and the codes look very, very similar and the descriptions are very similar, so I just marked those differences with highlights. What do you guys think is the answer for this one? Great, Jenny, that's awesome. I'm sure you did. Sorry, McNair. If somebody wants to reply to them about not being able to hear, make sure they don't have their Bluetooth device linked to their device that they're watching the video on, to like earbuds or something that why they can't hear, but they should be able to hear. Everybody else is, right? I'm so glad you're liking Pocket Prep. Pocket Prep's either $15 a month or it's $40 for 3 months. This one is false. You should never code the 7000s with those particular codes. And if it's not marked near those codes, be sure and mark it. You can draw that in. You know, as you do these questions and you find the correct answer, adding the information to the codes is super helpful. Which one of these is the Swan's catheter with insertion and placement? If all four answers are super close to each other, what I do is go look up 2 codes at a time, look at their differences, check my question to see if it's one of those 2 codes. If it's not, then I move down to my other 2 codes. Because it's too hard for me to look up 4 codes at the same time and keep 4 definitions or 4 one-word differences in my head at the same time. I can only do 2 at a time. Today's my Aunt Debbie's birthday. Aw, it's my mom's oldest sister. Mom's one of 4. She had Aunt Debbie, and then her, and then Uncle David and Aunt Candy. I was an only child and my dad was an only child, so we were always amazed by her having siblings. Everybody got A? Good job. Perfect. That is correct. It's usually done bedside too. What about this one? Hey Ginger, sorry to hear that. I hope I can help you on your next attempt. One thing that kept confusing me was the questions, which is not true or which one is not correct. Yeah, isn't it awful? Looking for the wrong answer in an available answer is very hard to do. You finished? Uh-huh. Okay. If you say so.
I did.
Okay.
I read faster when it's in my head. It's a little harder to read.
Yeah, everybody does that. Those are the worst questions. Save those to the end. Just skip them next time and then go back to them when you're not rushed and you know how much time you got left over. But you have to look at the answers and find the one that you know is incorrect. Which one is a bunch of garbage, or which one is different from the other ones. If they're guidelines, it's usually one that does not have the word always or ever. But it's usually one of the answers that is different from the other ones. Just totally different. Thank you, Rain. Pick on a 5-year-old without image guidance is A. Perfect. Good job. What about this one? Have y'all been liking the YouTube shorts with the practice exam questions I've been putting in them? I did a bunch for my surgery yesterday. I got 2 more, I think, to post, or maybe 1 more. Can't remember. But I know it's hard to do a Mo's question or Ma's question in 10 seconds, but hopefully they're helpful. They're a pain to create in Canva, all the different little stuff you got to do, but they're fun to see work afterwards. Which one's ventricular? Great, I'm so glad, Angela. Let me know the average salary of a new coder in the USA is. All that is listed on the AAPC website. They do an annual survey every year of people's income, and it varies by year and whether you have multiple certificates or not. I recommend 2 certificates for everybody so that you can get a higher paying job for sure. But be sure and check out AAPC's websites. You had a Moz question, you had a lab one, and one that gave a code and them times 8. Ooh. The last Moz that I heard about on the exam had a times 3 lesions. They just did one that's due sometime in October. Fagan, what are we talking about? Oh, the average salary. Yeah. Everybody get B for this one? I think so. What about this one? Everybody that has a AAPC membership gets access to 20 practice questions every month that are brand new, released to you in the monthly magazine. Everybody knows where to go look for those, right? The Moz had 6 fractions something. It was a question about a 10,000 code and referred last 2 digits. 13, 14, 15. So if they're thinking that fractions are the microscope slides, is that a hardness scale? Now, there's a fractional laser therapy you can be using to repair or reduce a scar after the Moz surgery. Everybody got this one? A is correct. Good job. These seem to be pretty easy. Let me get y'all something a little bit more challenging. Let me switch this to there we go. What do you think about this anesthesia question? everybody know how to do this one. If your CPT code descriptor 00790 does not have a patient's age in it, then you'll need to add one of your qualifying circumstance codes, which if you're in the 2024 CPT book, that is on page 65. Those codes right up here. If your code descriptor does have an age in it, then you cannot use it. This one is A. Good job. How about this guideline question? Check on James. He's being too quiet. Aw, thanks. Yeah, when they get too quiet, you gotta go check on him. He's in the bathroom. His tummy's hurting. Too much pizza probably this weekend. The answer to this one, if you're in the 2024 book, is on page 64 in your guidelines. Page 64, and it is C. Good job. What about this one? The CPT code is all the same. It's just a difference between these modifiers. And did you move all the anesthesia modifiers over to your CPT book? Because those modifiers are over in your HIPICS book. So we are billing for the anesthesiologist, not for the CRNA. So does that change your answer? Because if we were billing for the CRNA, it's one answer. If we're billing for the anesthesiologist who's supervising the CRNA, it's a different answer. Yep, it is C. If we were billing for the CRNA, it would be QX. Can everybody figure up time on anesthesia? How many minutes is this particular procedure for just anesthesia? What I like to do is just take my imaginary pen and draw a line through anything that says surgery, because I know that is unhelpful, and only pick the time that is left over after I get rid of the surgery stuff. That gets me the correct answer, which is 51. Yes, yes, yes. What do you guys think about this one? We've got 3 of them that are the 67. Make sure you are at that correct code. Then figure out if you are going to be a 68 or a 61. Modifiers can help you with this question too. Knowing if you're a QZ or QX on which procedure will help you pick out the answer for this question too. Let's see, what are we doing? And who is doing it? QZ is CRNA with no direction. QY is by anesthesiologist. Do you see any mention of an anesthesiologist doing anything around here? Nope. And it does say non-medically directed, which means you will always be a QZ. So we can get rid of C and A. And out of 67 with a 68 or a 61, I got some good notes in this area. 61 has no epidural. And it's just for a cesarean only. Where 68 is an add-on code. It has a plus symbol in front of it. What is more likely to be an additional code that you will add to a primary surgery? Are you going to add one that does not have an add-on code, or are you going to add one that does have an add-on code? Everybody got B now? $68 is an add-on code that you can add on to anesthesia procedures. And then RQZ is for non-medically directed. CRNA. No worries, you keep trying them. These are very, very difficult ones. These are hard ones. You're meant to get these wrong. Don't stress. Here we go. Almost get it all into one. Almost. There we go. This one's difficult. So if we look at 1382, 382. That's a diagnostic one. We already have a diagnosis. We have a preoperative diagnosis. We know the patient has a torn meniscus. So you know we can't do a diagnostic procedure. So it can't be A. If we go down to the 1400, that's an open procedure. 1390 is a closed procedure. And then 1404 is a joint issue. There. What did we do today? $13.90 is also for the upper ends of the tibia, fibula, patella, where 01400 is NOS, not otherwise specified, but it also says inside the descriptor that is open procedure, but also or a surgical scope. So 1400 does have the word scope in it. But you do have to notice that the 1400 has the word or in it. So it could be an open procedure or it could be a scope. So just looking quickly for those opened and closed, this particular one needs another annotation to let you know that it's an or a scope. And then you could figure out that your answer has to be your 1400. Yes, yes, yes. Good job. I got some added information here, like if you wanted to know that the 1390 goes for the hip, the 382 is for the lower leg, not the knee. That is handy information to add next to these codes. Lab and path. What about that one? Janelle saw this one last week when we were doing tutoring. This one's pretty easy because first thing you need to look for is the differences in your answers. And what's the differences between these answers? 2 of them have a microscope. 1 of them does not. So look through your question. You'll see that this one has no microscope. Then great. You know only 1 of them is the correct answer. Yep. Super cool. All right, if a cardiologist diagnoses the patient with primary pulmonary hypertension, which diagnosis are we at? We've got 4 different answers. 3 of them are in the I-27. 2 of them have 4 digits. Only 1 has 5 digits. That's what I'm thinking when I look at these answers. I was trying to answer your email too, Janelle, while we were doing the question beforehand, and I'm not sure I understand what you were asking. Are you talking about the area of study practice exam questions? Or something else? Oh, there we go. No, that's not it. Good job. Yes, we are A with this one. Perfect. Good job. What about this one?
Pepto will make it feel better, right?
Huh?
Pepto will make it feel better.
Do we have any?
I think there's some of those.
Cool. What'd y'all have for lunch today?
Taco salad.
Taco salad. It's not Taco Tuesday. If we are adding an electrode to the right atrium and we replaced a generator, which is just a battery, after we converted a single chamber pacemaker to a dual chamber, would we be in the 14-16 area, or are we in the 27-29 area? If I was short on time, I would pick the cheapest procedure, which means the smallest of the numbers, which just means A, and move on to my next question. Because usually they're just trying to trick you into thinking that you're doing more than you are. Yes, it is A. Are we in the 90,000s or are we in the 30,000s? See, what did she write? In the Zoom recording that you sent, it mentions that I need to practice anesthesia, E&M, and lab. Next step area. Can I use my practice exam questions to focus on these areas? Yeah. Of course, if you still have AAPC study guide also, you can practice those questions in it. If you have Pocket Prep, you can build exam questions in those areas on Pocket Prep's website. If you have my Goose membership, you can come to those practice areas and just practice them here too. Like, this is the E&M practice page where you just come here, and if you get it right or wrong, it'll tell you till you get it right with the rationale. But I got a bajillion questions here, all in E&M. And then there's a page for anesthesia. There's a page for all those areas that you were looking for. Been working on the new guideline and spinal area. I just added some more stuff to the diagnosis tab page. Ear, nose, and throat. Got a bunch of new questions this weekend also. All those new questions are way on down here. I was putting those in. You just click on one and it'll tell you what the rationale is till you get it right. So, super cool. Yeah, you got one correct. But, we got the rationale on these. So, put a bunch of new ones in here if you have a membership. But, yes, AAPC has those exams A, B, C, D, E, and F, and you can join Pocket Prep also on AAPC's website. That's Pocket Prep. I was trying to figure out here how to redeem. A lot of times, underneath your exam question area where it says your scores and your individual scores, there's an area of study, practice exam question sets where you can get 10 questions for $15 in just the areas that you did low in. You can purchase more questions there, but it's really expensive. If you've bought them all, it's $500. It's really expensive. But you can go to COC is a lot like CPC, and if you just wanted to purchase some of their practice exam questions, you can come here to the practice exam question area, and you can purchase a $80 bundle of 150 questions in COC too. You can also go to the specialty tab right here, and if you are looking for just more E&M practice questions, you can click on the CEMC, and right here for $40, you can get a bundle of just E&M questions if you wanted to just practice there. Another one is family practice, the CFPC. That's just family practice exam questions for $40. This one's ER, just ER questions. There's usually quite a few ER questions on the exam. People are always showing up dead, but those are $40 too. You can always practice in there. There's a general surgeon one. There's a cardiovascular one. You know, there's a lot of these little different specialties ones, but the PEDS one is good for CPC too. It's got immunizations, practice questions in there. But there's a lot of different specialty certification practice exam questions that still would work for CPC to give you more than just A, B, C, or D, you know. General surgeon one right there for $30. And then they'll just show up underneath your exams and courses, and then you can practice those practice questions right there too. But super helpful. There we go. What about this question? You can absolutely practice the ones you already have, or Lord, between Pocket Prep, My Own Site, and AAPC, we've got plenty of questions to practice with, for sure. Plus, you can always go to my YouTube replay videos and just watch all those workshops. I know you have my YouTube membership, Janelle. You can go straight to the workshops and go to the view playlist and then do the practice questions in all the workshops, because each one of those has 75 practice questions, and it'll cover all those areas and more, of course, but you could just filter through and only do anesthesia questions when I do them on the workshops, and then scoot you on to the lab and path when I do those in the workshop. You know, there's a million ways to find a bunch of practice questions. This one was C. Good job, everybody. What about this one? Yeah, those YouTube videos are great. Don't forget about the book prep videos too. That'll go well with the cardiovascular notes I just saw you purchase today. So if you go to the book prep videos on YouTube for cardiovascular, you can have my notes up, and as you're transferring them, you can listen in the background to the cardiovascular book prep videos, and maybe that'll help out as you're doing the notes. It'll make more sense with the videos. All right, are we in the 93000 area, or are we in the 1518 area? You're welcome. Good job, guys. Yes, we are 15. Perfect. What are burn codes used for in the ICD-10? Are they, what are the burn codes used for? Poisonings, complications, thermals, or adverse effect? Burns are obviously 3. Thermal, right? Easy peasy. How should fractures be coded? Based off the extent, the site, the cause, or the classification? Ooh. What about this one? Let me send out some YouTube memberships too, by the way. I'm going to try. It's my internet not being happy. I did a Moz surgery blog today too. Don't forget to check out the blog. There may be lots of coding stuff there too that can be super helpful. Well, that's not helpful. I don't know why my internet is not doing things like it's supposed to be. Pop out chat. There we go. Let's gift out some memberships. 5:39. Why does it keep reconnecting me? Okay. I'm going to throw it back into that. And let's just do it from here. Oh, I can't do it from here. Pop out chat. There we go. Go-kart X. More Emily, Katie. Awesome. I hope those YouTube memberships help you guys out. Getting access to those workshops is super helpful. This one, we've got a lot of people saying 4 and 2, maybe? And fractures should be coded by 2 based off laterality and the type of fracture, yes. Now, how are open fractures classified? This is where our number 4 comes in. That classification that y'all used in the previous question. Yeah, there we go. What about our 7th character, A? What does it represent? Perfect. Easy peasy. What about D, if we had that for a 7th character? Subsequent initial limb salvage, or a complication? Good job, Fagan. Yep. Subsequent. Good job. Abuse or neglect codes. That's going to be 3, right? Mental health and injury codes? Yeah. All right. How are toxic effects coded in our ICD-10? Which T category? T7, T3, T8, or T5? I got 3s and 4s. 4. Good job. How are poisonings coded? I need to find more of those questions that are like, find the incorrect answer. Those kind of ones. Those are so hard. This is always finding the correct answer, and those are easier. One again. What are the activity codes used in ICD-10 for injuries? They indicate the extent of the body surface, classifications, coding adverse, or describing the cause of the injury. 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 Place of occurrence described in injury. 4. Where it occurred. What is the correct limb salvage for a traumatic fracture? T74, T86. Would we be dealing with the 7th character, or look under adverse effect or additional manifestation codes? Seventh character S represents subsequent, limbs, sequela, initial. Lots of, yeah. We love that sequela name, right? All right. Categories are used for adult child abuse, mental health, burns, or complications. Adult and child abuse. Yep. These are getting redundant. Let me find another one. All right, let me get this smaller for you guys. so we can get it all into one. There we go. So the E&M code is all the same. We don't have to worry about it. So's the modifier. Scoochie on to the second CPT code. Figure out if you're a 12004, 05, or a 12044. You ready to go to bed, McNair? I'm fixing to have to go get Travis. You know our wound is bigger than 10 centimeters. You know you're not going to be down here in these little bitty numbers anyway. So you know you're going to be a 44. The 34 and the 59 are the same in A and C. Then you just need to know, are you an 11 or a 13? And if you're following AAPC's pattern by just picking the smaller of the two numbers, the answer is probably C without looking. There you go. There's your rationale. The 15004 is the same all the way down, so don't worry about it. Are we a 15005 after it? Would we be in the 16s or in the 15135 area? If you're looking for similarities, like I like to do, two answers have the same second code, which is A and C, and then the only difference between those two answers is a 75 and a 77. Just check in the question for that difference. And only that difference is how I would do this question and pick out that A answer right away without opening the book. Just by looking for similarities. And then the little bit of difference there is between those two that would make a difference. We have 5. And then 4 warts. Where would we be?
Okay, I think I'm good now.
Did you put away the clean dishes like I asked you to? Yeah, you have the memory of a goldfish sometimes, dude. You listen, you agree, and then it's gone. Goldfish. 3 of the answers have the 10 in it. but only one of them has it with no modifier. If this is the answer, we removed 2 of something, right? If this was the answer, we removed one thing, but it could have been multiples of one thing. If it was C, we removed 2 different types of things. And same thing for D. If the answer was D, we would have removed up to 15 of something if we wanted to, but we would have to times it. So it would have been just 2 of something and then something else. If we did C, this is 5 of something and then something else. Does that make sense? Like, this would be just one particular thing being removed. This is one thing being removed. This is 2 different things being removed, and so is this. This is 2 different things being removed. What do we have? We have precancerous lesions being removed, and then we also have warts being removed. So we know we have 2 different things being removed. So it has to be a C or a D. And which one would equal 5 in one area and 4 in another area? Well, this equals 5. So C is your answer. One more. If we placed a radiological marker what answer would we be? A is correct. Good job. You guys are just getting too good at this. Are you a 42, 43, or 44? the best way to do is to look through this question to see if you got all the way down to bone, I believe. If you don't see any AKA words for bone, then look for AKA words that mean muscle. If you don't see anything than that, then you're good to pick the subcutaneous one. Just don't automatically assume if you see the word subcutaneous that your answer will be subcutaneous in this area, because you got to go through subcutaneous tissue to get to muscle to get to bone. So always look for them in the reverse order. Look for them mentioning getting down to the bone level, or mentioning a muscle, like they won't say the name of it, but they might say a partial name like minor, major, longus. But if they stayed in the subcutaneous area, then you know your answer is D. So, easy peasy when you're doing these. But it is 6. I gotta go get Travis. I hope this was helpful. We're gonna do 2 more hours on Wednesday. I hope to see you guys back for that. We will work on a ton more questions. We've got lab and path, some medicine to do, and more cardiology. But back to the codes, not the diagnosis codes area. Same time, about 4:15. I've already got the link up for you guys. We've got a football game on Tuesday, but Travis has got to get some homework turned in, or he can't participate in the football game. He has to sit out on the sidelines but still go with his cheer team. So he had all weekend. He could have done his homework, but you know how kids are. They like to procrastinate. So hopefully he can get his stuff done between tonight and tomorrow. All right. Love you guys. Very proud of you guys. I will see you guys on Wednesday. I hope this was helpful.